Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Superman's next big movie hasn't even dropped, but the internet may have already seen the whole thing. First up, Lex will go full internet villain. One of the strangest rumored plot points teases a future scene where Lex Luthor doesn't just launch a smear campaign against Superman, he does it using actual mutant monkeys typing at keyboards. Yes, really. According to early leaks, Lex supposedly trains these creatures to flood social media with anti-Superman posts, eventually making the hashtag #SuperShit go viral worldwide. It sounds like a rejected SNL sketch, but weirdly fits James Gunn's brand of dark satire. Some insiders now claim the scene was toned down or scrapped after test screenings, but if it ever makes it to screen, it's bound to become meme history. And then, Jor-El will drop the wrong message. A future scene may show Lex Luthor uncovering a damaged Jor-El transmission, buried deep in the Fortress of Solitude. The incomplete message, if kept in the final cut, could twist Superman's origin, framing him not as Earth's protector, but as a would-be conqueror. Rumors suggest Lex will manipulate this revelation, broadcasting it globally while conveniently leaving out the missing context. If that plays out, public trust in Superman could crumble in minutes. We may soon watch as the world turns on him, triggered not by violence, but by a corrupted legacy and a perfectly timed lie. But it only gets darker with the clone that wouldn't hold together. If the leaks are right, the film might introduce a clone of Superman, one created by Lex Luthor himself. At first, this version, possibly called Ultraman, could seem almost identical to the real thing. But as the story moves forward, the cracks might start to show. His appearance could shift, his hair growing out, his body changing, his mind unraveling. Bit by bit, he might become less like Superman and more like something darker. If this plays out, we may end up watching Superman face a fading reflection of himself, unstable, confused, and slowly falling apart, sliding even further down the rabbit hole. Lex will lock them in a glitchy nightmare. One unusual leak suggests Lex Luthor might use a pocket dimension to trap people he wants out of the way. This strange space could act like a digital prison, glitchy, pixelated, and oddly unreal, almost like an old video game. If the rumors are true, Superman, Krypto, and even Lex's ex-girlfriend might end up stuck there. It's not clear how Lex would gain access to something so advanced, but he may use it as his own secret dumping ground for people he considers a problem. If this plays out, it could be one of the film's weirdest and most creative twists. After all that, Supergirl will steal the scene. One leak hints the movie might end with Superman quietly reflecting inside the Fortress of Solitude, until the calm is broken by a sudden arrival. Supergirl is said to show up unexpectedly, still a little out of sorts, looking for her dog, Krypto. From what the leak describes, she's not exactly graceful about it. She thanks Superman, takes the dog, and leaves in a rush. If this scene makes the final cut, it could introduce a version of Kara that will feel very different, more casual, more chaotic, and definitely more unpredictable. Depending on how it's played, it might come off as funny, or just plain odd. The political stakes will climb when Superman starts a war without meaning to. In the coming film, Superman may end up stepping into a foreign conflict without any government's approval. If the leaks are true, this moment could shift how the world sees him. What starts as a rescue mission might spiral into something much bigger, with leaders around the world unsure of his intentions. Because of his appearance and timing, some might assume he's acting on behalf of the US, even if that's not the case. This could lead to growing distrust, rising tensions, and the perfect setup for Lex Luthor to push his own global agenda. Chaos levels will rise again when Lex will play war, while monsters wreck the city. In future scenes, we might see Lex Luthor quietly teaming up with a small, unnamed nation, not to build a typical weapons, but to create something far more unusual. If the leak is accurate, this secret deal may lead to giant creatures being unleashed in Metropolis, turning the city into a disaster zone. The purpose wouldn't just be destruction, but to spread confusion and fear. This kind of event could make world leaders uneasy, giving Lex more influence while others scramble to respond. Superman likely won't be able to stop it alone, setting up the early scenes of a new hero team forming. Then we might see the League Before. It had a name. If this part of the leak plays out, we might see Superman getting backup from other heroes during the citywide chaos. Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, and a few more could show up, not as a team, but as individuals who happen to be in the right place at the right time. After things settle down, someone might quietly suggest they work together more often. It may not be dramatic or flashy, just a small line that plants the idea. No costumes matching, no big announcements, just the early steps of something that could grow into the Justice League, naturally and a little unexpectedly. Meanwhile, back at the the Daily Planet, Lois and Clark might be terrible at pretending. Apparently, the Daily Planet has a strict policy against office relationships. So instead of keeping things simple, Clark and Lois might fake a very public feud to cover up the fact they've been secretly dating for months. In meetings, they will act irritated, and on the newsroom floor, they will argue in front of coworkers. Meanwhile, they will go home together every night. One scene even shows Lois interviewing Superman in their shared apartment, casually turning on a mic mid-argument. It starts as playful, but slips into a heated debate over foreign policy. The drama isn't just about truth and justice, it's also about hiding from HR. Speaking of that, the fortress was never safe. In a future scene you might soon witness, Lex Luthor's Superman clone could play a quieter but far more dangerous role. Using Kal-El's DNA, the clone may be able to slip past the Fortress of Solitude's defenses and activate a damaged version of Jor-El's ancient AI. Instead of guiding Clark, the system could end up feeding private Kryptonian knowledge directly to Lex. If this happens, the Fortress, once a peaceful place of learning, would unknowingly become a tool in the wrong hands. It's not a giant fight or explosion, but something much colder. Stolen trust hiding in plain sight. Post-credit whispers also hint at the green skull behind the curtain. A small post-credit moment might end up being a big clue for what's next in DC's story. If the leaks are right, we could see a cracked planet floating in space with a soft green light glowing in the background. That light slowly reveals the shape of a skull-like face, possibly Brainiac. There's no sound, no words, and no big action. It's just a quiet image. But if this makes it into the final cut, it might be James Gunn's way of setting up the next big villain. Not loud or dramatic, just a calm warning of what's coming. But there will be a wholesome scene of cape, dog, and a quiet planet. If this post-credit scene makes it to theaters, it could be one of the most surprising choices in the entire film. No battles, no big twist, just Superman and Krypto sitting quietly on the moon, watching Earth together. After everything that's happened, it's a strange kind of peace. Not forced, not heroic, just calm. The kind of scene that doesn't explain anything, but somehow says a lot. Whether it's meant as closure or a calm before the next storm, it's a quiet moment that sticks. And in a film full of noise, that silence might be the loudest part. Oh, and the tower's still crooked. A second post-credit scene might take things in an unexpected direction. Instead of a major reveal or tease, the moment leans into light comedy. Mr. Terrific and Superman look up at a skyscraper, left slightly crooked after the big battle. Superman seems ready to move on, but Terrific can't let it go. He mutters something under his breath, clearly annoyed, and kicks a rock as if that might help. That's the whole scene, just a tiny, strange beat about a tilted building. If this ends up in the final cut, it could be Gunn's way of easing the tension before whatever comes next. Gunn will cut the gags and scrap the calendar. Originally, the film was structured to follow Superman's week, literally. Each section would begin with a weekday title card, moving from Monday through Friday like chapters in a diary. That idea didn't survive test screenings. Viewers found it clunky and pointless, and the pacing took a hit. Alongside that, several early jokes reportedly landed with a loud thud. Some were described as overly raunchy or just plain awkward, with one sequence involving an offbeat nickname for Superman getting cut completely. Gunn apparently stepped in to tighten everything, ditching the episodic format and trimming out humor that didn't match the tone. It wasn't just about cleaning things up. It was about avoiding tonal whiplash. You can still feel some of that weird humor in places, but it's clear they backed off before going full parody. Whether that saved the film or softened its edge depends on how much chaos you were hoping for. And here's what it all adds up to. This isn't just a reboot, it's a warning shot. Everything in these leaks, from cloned heroes to cosmic threats, points to one thing. This film isn't simply restarting Superman, it's rewriting the tone of the entire DC universe. Instead of a clean slate origin story, the plot throws viewers into a world where Superman's trust is already broken, his history is questioned, and his enemies don't just want to fight, they want to twist the narrative. Lex isn't just a genius with a grudge. He's a strategist, playing long-term chess with alien tech, political warfare, and public fear. Add in the possible rise of Brainiac and a shattered global image, and the film feels less like a hopeful beginning and more like the first domino. Gunn may be using Superman to set the tone for everything that follows. Whether that tone sticks depends on how well this chaos lands, and whether DC fans are ready for a launch that begins in the middle of a crisis. So there you have it. Fakes, frames, clones, and cracked moons. If even half of this is true, DC just pressed the reset button with a sledgehammer. Would you follow this Superman into a new universe, or turn back now? Like, comment, and stay tuned. We're just getting started.